Imagine this. You're driving down a deserted rural road. In the rearview mirror, a rusty truck approaches at high speed. The driver seems determined to run you off the road. When you finally manage to escape, you see something disturbing. A sinister figure disposing of what appear to be bodies in an abandoned sewer pipe. This is the terrifying introduction to the Creeper, the immortal monster of the Jeepers Creepers franchise. But what do we really know about this creature's mind? What makes it choose certain victims and ignore others? Why does it hunt every 23 years, for exactly 23 days? Today, we'll dive into the dark psychology of the Creeper to understand what makes this demonic entity tick. Prepare yourself for a deep analysis that will completely change your perspective on one of the most terrifying monsters in horror cinema, the nature of the Creeper. Before we can understand how the Creeper chooses its prey, we need to comprehend its fundamental nature. The Creeper isn't human, never was and never will be. It's an ancient demonic creature that has existed since biblical times. As Giselle Gay Hartman describes in the first film, I don't know if it's a demon or a devil, or just something hungry from some obscure time and place. This entity operates under a specific set of rules that define its behavior. It feeds on human body parts to replace its own when damaged or aged. It's essentially an organ vampire, as creator Victor Salva described it. But what makes the Creeper truly fascinating from a psychological perspective is its specific predation cycle. It awakens every 23 years, hunts for exactly 23 days, and then hibernates again. This mathematical precision in its behavior suggests a being that, despite being monstrous, follows rigid, almost ritual patterns. But why 23? Why not 20 or 25? The number 23 has esoteric meanings in various cultures. It's a prime number, considered sacred in some occult traditions. This might suggest that the Creeper's cycle is linked to some kind of cosmic alignment or supernatural force that transcends our understanding. How it chooses its victims. One of the most disturbing characteristics of the Creeper is its victim selection methodology. These aren't random hunts, there's a method to its madness. As Giselle explains in the first film, it smells fear, and when it finds something it likes, it can't stop hunting its prey until it gets what it came for. The Creeper literally sniffs out fear and potential victims, looking for specific characteristics it wants to incorporate into itself. Its superhuman senses allow it to detect not just fear, but also specific physical qualities it desires. Let's analyze some concrete examples. In Jeepers Creepers, it chooses Derry for his eyes, not because Derry was afraid, but because he had seen the Creeper's house of pain, its underground lair. The Creeper wanted the eyes that had witnessed its secrets. In the second film, it selects specific targets among the teenagers trapped in the school bus. It doesn't attack indiscriminately, it examines, smells, and selects. When it finds a trait it desires, like an athlete's physical strength or a basketball player's healthy lungs, it marks that person as a target. This reveals something deeply disturbing about the Creeper's psychology. It doesn't kill for pleasure or indiscriminate bloodlust. It kills out of necessity, for survival. Each murder is calculated, each victim selected with a specific purpose. It's almost like an evolved predator that has developed a highly efficient hunting method, identifying the desired characteristic, provoking fear to season the meat, and then attacking with surgical precision. The ritual of fear. The Creeper doesn't just feed on bodies, it feeds on fear. It deliberately provokes terror in its victims before attacking them. In the first film, it pursues Trish and Derry on the road, playing with them like a cat with a mouse. In the second film, it circles the school bus, slowly revealing itself to the teenagers, studying their reactions. Why does it do this? There are two possible explanations. First, fear might be a seasoning for the Creeper. Perhaps body parts taken from terrified victims are more potent or longer lasting for it. Second, fear helps the Creeper identify which parts it wants. When a person is in extreme panic, their body releases adrenaline, accelerating the heart, expanding the lungs, dilating the pupils. These physical reactions might help the Creeper assess the quality of the organs it desires. But there's something even more intriguing about the Creeper's behavior. It demonstrates a deep understanding of human psychology. It knows exactly how to provoke maximum fear in different types of people. The third film reveals that if a person has enough willpower to control their fear, they become merely an annoyance to the Creeper. It might kill them, but it won't consume any part of them. This suggests that fear isn't just a seasoning, it's an essential selection criterion. It's almost as if the Creeper were a connoisseur of terror, an artist who appreciates the quality of the fear it provokes. This would explain why it transforms its victims into macabre works of art in its lair, the immortal mind, time, and memory. Now, let's consider something truly fascinating. the mental experience of a being that has existed for centuries, perhaps millennia. The creeper has memories of ancient times. The comics accompanying the films reveal that it orchestrated human sacrifice rituals during Aztec times and was responsible for the disappearance of the Roanoke colony. Imagine what it would be like to have a mind that has stored memories for so long. How would this affect its perception of humanity? For a being that has seen empires rise and fall, civilizations flourish and disappear, individual humans must seem ephemeral, insignificant. This temporal perspective might explain the creeper's apparent lack of empathy. For it, humans are renewable resources, crops that grow during its 23 years of hibernation, ready to be harvested when it awakens. But there's an even more intriguing aspect of the creeper's mind. Despite being an ancient creature, it demonstrates a surprising capacity for adaptation. It understands modern technology, drives a truck, uses weapons, and even appreciates music. Jeepers Creepers and The Farmer in the Dell are songs it whistles while hunting. This suggests that, during its periods of activity, it doesn't just hunt, it observes, learns, and adapts to the modern world. This cognitive flexibility, combined with its ancient experience, makes the creeper a truly formidable predator. The paradox of the artistic predator. One of the most bizarre and fascinating aspects of the creeper is its artistic inclination. This isn't just a monster that kills out of necessity, it's a being that transforms death into art. In the first film, we discover its House of Pain, an underground location where hundreds of preserved bodies were sewn together into grotesque compositions. In the second film, we see that it creates weapons from body parts of its victims, including throwing stars made of bones and teeth. This tendency suggests that the creeper isn't just an instinctive predator, but a being with aesthetic capacity, with a sense of creation and beauty, though perverted by our standards. It dedicates considerable time and effort to these creations, suggesting they have meaning beyond functionality. Perhaps, for such an ancient creature, art is a way to process time, to leave a mark on the world. Or perhaps it's simply an expression of its predatory nature, transforming its victims into trophies, like a hunter who displays animal heads on his wall. What makes this particularly disturbing is that it suggests a level of intelligence and aesthetic consciousness that transcends simple animal instinct. The creeper isn't just a monster, it's an artist whose canvas is human flesh and whose paint is blood. The 23-year cycle explained. Now, to the central mystery of the creeper's existence, why does it follow such a specific 23-year cycle? There are several possible theories. First theory, it's a biological necessity. Perhaps the creeper needs 23 years to fully digest what it has consumed, or for the parts it has incorporated to fully integrate into its body. Second theory, it's a cosmic or supernatural cycle. The number 23 has occult meanings in various mystical traditions. Perhaps the creeper is linked to some cosmic alignment that occurs every 23 years. Third theory, it's an evolutionary strategy. By hibernating for 23 years, the creeper allows human populations to recover and forget the terror of its last appearance. When it returns, it finds unsuspecting and abundant victims. But there's a fourth theory, perhaps the most disturbing. What if the 23-year cycle exists for purely psychological reasons? What if the creeper, despite its monstrosity, experiences something similar to boredom or mental exhaustion? Think about it. Even human predators like serial killers often experience a cooling-off period between crimes. For a being that has lived for centuries, perhaps 23 days of intense predatory activity is all it can handle before needing to withdraw from the world. Or perhaps it's the opposite. Perhaps it needs 23 years to recharge its hunger, its desire to hunt and terrorize. Perhaps, for an immortal being, the hunt is the only thing that still provides excitement in an endless existence. The duality of the creeper, animal, and intelligent. One of the most fascinating aspects of the creeper's psychology is its duality. On one hand, it exhibits animalistic and instinctive behaviors. It sniffs the air like a predator, growls and grunts, and demonstrates brutal ferocity when hunting. On the other hand, it demonstrates sophisticated intelligence. It drives a truck, creates art, understands modern technology, and even shows emotions like amusement, anger, and curiosity. This duality suggests that the creeper exists in a liminal state between human and animal, between conscious and instinctive. It's almost as if it had evolved to combine the best or worst of both worlds. The instinctive ferocity of an apex predator with the calculating intelligence of a conscious being. This duality also manifests in its hunting method. Sometimes, it attacks with the direct brutality of a wild animal. Other times, it elaborates complex plans, like when it sabotages the school bus in the second film. The creeper seems to have the ability to switch between these modes of operation as needed, adapting its approach to the situation. This behavioral flexibility makes it a particularly dangerous and unpredictable predator. The consciousness of the creeper. A final and perhaps the deepest question. Does the creeper possess consciousness in the human sense? Does it understand the concept of morality? Does it know it causes suffering? The creeper's behavior suggests that it perfectly understands the concept of fear and suffering. In fact, it seems to delight in them. However, there's no evidence that it considers its actions morally wrong. For the creeper, humans are sources of food and material in the same way that cows are for us. But with a crucial difference. It seems to derive pleasure from the terror it causes, suggesting a level of conscious cruelty that transcends the simple need for food. In the third film, we see the creeper demonstrating something similar to fear when it realizes that humans have discovered information about its origins. This suggests self-awareness. It understands it has secrets, an identity to protect. This self-awareness, combined with its apparent lack of empathy, makes the creeper even more disturbing. It isn't just an instinctive monster, it's a being that understands what it does and chooses to do it anyway. Conclusion: the psychology of the creeper is a fascinating labyrinth of animal instinct, supernatural intelligence, and obsessive ritualism. It isn't just a monster that kills indiscriminately. It's a calculating predator with a complex system of victim selection, a being with aesthetic preferences, and a deep understanding of human fear. What makes the creeper truly terrifying isn't just its immortality or supernatural strength, but the fact that it represents a form of intelligence completely alien to our own. A mind that has existed for centuries, that sees humans as resources to be harvested every 23 years, that transforms death into art and fear into a seasoning for its meal. The next time you hear the song Jeepers Creepers or drive down a deserted rural road, remember, for creatures like the creeper, humans aren't the predators at the top of the food chain. We're just part of a cyclical harvest, cultivated for 23 years and harvested in 23 days of pure terror. And perhaps the most disturbing thought of all, somewhere, right now, the creeper might be hibernating, dreaming of its next hunting season, when once again, it can savor, fear, and collect the parts it most desires. The question isn't if it will return, but when.